Get comfortable with English in comfort. This is your English listening practice podcast to help you learn and improve naturally.
Have you ever looked at someone learning English and just thought, wow, they're picking it up so quickly. What's their secret?
Absolutely, Emily. I actually hear that a lot from learners. Like, why are some people learning English faster than me? It's a really common question.
It really is. And it's totally normal to feel that way. We've all been there, wondering if we're doing something wrong or if there's some magic trick we're missing.
Yeah, it can feel a bit discouraging sometimes, right? You see someone speaking so confidently and you think, how did they do it?
Exactly. Well, guess what? Today we're going to talk about just that. We're going to explore some simple, real reasons why it might seem like some people learn English faster.
Don't worry, it's not about being super smart or having a secret talent. It's usually about a few small things that anyone can try.
By the way, I'm Emily.
And I'm Liam.
And this is English in Comfort, the place where you can learn English while you relax, lie down, or even while you sleep. No pressure, no stress, just real English.
Today, we're diving into the real reasons some people seem to speed ahead and how you can use those ideas to help your own English journey.
That's right. We'll share some simple, helpful tips that you might not have thought about before. So get comfortable, grab your tea, and let's get started. Let's jump right into our first big idea about why some people seem to learn English faster. And it's actually a very simple question that can make a huge difference. Why are you learning English in the first place?
That's a great question, Emily. I think sometimes we just start learning because, well, everyone else is, or because we feel like we should. But we don't always stop to think about our own reason.
Exactly, and here's a little secret. Many people who learn English quickly have a very clear goal or a specific target in mind. They know exactly why they're doing it.
So it's like having a map when you want to go somewhere new. If you know your destination, you can plan your route. But if you don't know where you're going, you just wander around and get lost.
That's a perfect way to put it, Liam. When you have a strong why, it helps you focus your learning. You know what skills you need to improve, what vocabulary is important for you, and what kind of English you need to practice.
But if you don't have that goal, you might feel a bit confused or all over the place. You might try a little bit of everything without really getting better at one specific thing. And that can really slow you down.
Think about it. If your goal is to travel and speak with people in different countries, for example, then your focus will be on understanding everyday conversations, asking for directions, ordering food, and chatting with new friends. You'll practice listening to different accents and speaking clearly in real-life situations.
Or if your goal is for your job, then maybe you need to learn business English. So you'll focus on vocabulary related to your work, how to talk in meetings, or how to write professional emails. That's a very different focus from someone who just wants to travel.
Right. Or maybe you just want to understand your favorite movies or TV shows without subtitles. Your goal would be listening for understanding, catching natural conversation speed, and learning common phrases from films.
And some people learn English because they want to communicate with certain people, like family members who live in another country, or new friends they've met online. Their focus would be on conversational English that helps them connect personally.
So, no matter what your personal reason is, if you know your goal, you can really shrink your tasks and focus your energy. You won't waste time on things you don't need right now, and that will naturally help you learn faster. It makes your journey much clearer and more direct.
It's about being smart with your time.
Exactly. So, if you haven't already, take a moment after listening to this and ask yourself, why am I really doing this? What's my biggest reason for learning English? You can tell us in the comments too. I'm really curious about that.
All right, Emily, let's talk about our second big reason why some learn English faster than others. Consistency over intensity, which is all about the difference between working really hard sometimes and working a little bit all the time.
And what do you mean by that?
You know, some learners think that to learn English faster, they need to do a lot. They might join many expensive courses, pay for countless hours of lessons, or buy tons of books and apps. They think, If I just buy all these things and study for many hours, I'll learn quickly.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. It's like going to a huge buffet and trying to eat everything at once. You end up feeling overwhelmed and maybe even a bit sick.
That's a great example. And the truth is, while those resources can be helpful, it's not about how much you do in one go or how much money you spend. The real secret is consistency.
Think about it like going to the gym. If you go once a month for 8 hours, you probably won't see much progress, right? You'd be very tired and then you'd forget everything.
Right. But if you go to the gym for just 30 minutes every single day or even just 3 times a week, you will slowly but surely get stronger and fitter. It's the same with English.
Someone who just practices and practices every day for, let's say, just 30 minutes will be way more effective and better than someone who studies for 3 or 4 hours just once a week.
That daily effort, that little and often, helps your brain keep English in your mind. It makes it a part of your daily routine. You don't have to remember everything from a long, tiring session that happened days ago.
It's about building a habit. When you do something consistently, even for a short time, your brain has time to slowly understand and remember. You avoid that feeling of being completely overwhelmed and stressed out.
And when you feel stressed with intense hours of studying, it's easy to give up, isn't it? But 30 minutes feels manageable. You can listen to our podcast for 30 minutes, or practice some words, or read a short article.
So, if you're wondering why others seem to learn faster, it might not be because they're studying for 8 hours every day. It's probably because they're doing something with English every single day, even if it's just for a short time.
So instead of stressing yourself out with huge, long study sessions, try to find a small amount of time, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and make it a habit every day. That steady, gentle effort is truly how you make real progress.
It really adds up, trust us.
What's the next reason, Emily?
Well, the next one reason others seem to learn English faster is because they've found their learning superpower, or in simpler words, their best way to learn.
So you're saying not everyone learns in the same way, like what works for me might not work for you.
Exactly, this is so important. Think about it. Every person is unique, right? And because of that, we all have a different type of learning style that suits us best. There's no one-size-fits-all method that works perfectly for everyone.
That makes a lot of sense. So, what are some of these different ways people learn?
Well, some people are very visual learners. This means they learn best when they can see things. They might love using flashcards with pictures, watching videos with subtitles, or looking at colorful charts and diagrams. Seeing the words or ideas written down or in images really helps them remember.
And then there are people like our listeners, who are probably more auditory learners, right? They learn best through listening.
Precisely. For auditory learners, podcasts like ours, listening to English stories, audiobooks, or even just hearing native speakers talk in movies or shows is incredibly effective. Their ears are their best friends for learning.
I know some people who learn by doing. Are those the practice learners?
Yes, those are often called kinesthetic learners, or as you said, people who learn better through practice and doing. They learn best when they are active. This means they might like to role-play conversations, physically write things down, or even move around while they're trying to remember new words. Speaking out loud, even to themselves, is very helpful for them.
So, if I'm a visual learner but I'm trying to learn only by listening, I might feel slow or frustrated.
Exactly. Or if you're someone who learns best by practicing speaking, but you're only reading books, you're not using your natural superpower. And then some people like combining different skills. A little bit of listening, a little bit of reading, some writing, and some speaking.
So, the key is not to just copy what someone else is doing, but to find the right method that is suitable for you personally.
That's it. It might take a little bit of experimenting, try different things, listen to a podcast, then watch a video, then try to write a few sentences, then try to speak to yourself in the mirror. Pay attention to what feels easy, what feels fun, and what helps you remember new things quickly.
When you discover your natural way to learn, it stops feeling like a struggle and starts to feel, well, like using your superpower. and that definitely makes the learning process feel faster and more enjoyable.
So, take some time to think about how you learn best, not how your friend learns, or how some famous language learner says they learn. Your unique learning method is waiting for you to discover it. All right, let's now talk about a really common feeling that can actually slow down your English learning. It's something almost everyone does, but it's not very helpful. Comparison. Like asking yourself, wow, they're so much better than me.
Stop the comparison trap. It's so easy to look at someone else's progress and compare it to your own. You might see a friend speaking very fluently or a fellow student understanding everything, and you start asking yourself, why are they learning faster than me? What am I doing wrong?
Oh, I totally get that feeling. It can make you feel bad about yourself and even a bit discouraged, right?
It really can. And here's the big problem with that. While you are wasting time comparing and questioning what others are doing, those other people are still improving. While you're looking sideways at someone else's path, they're still moving forward on theirs. You're pausing your own journey just to observe someone else's.
That's a powerful way to think about it. It's like you're standing still while everyone else is walking.
Every minute you spend comparing yourself, feeling bad, or wondering about someone else's progress is a minute you could be spending on your own learning. It's a minute you could be listening to our podcast, practicing new words, or just trying to speak English.
Also, everyone's journey is different. You don't know their starting point, or their goals, or how much time they have. Maybe they live in an English-speaking country, or they started learning when they were very young. You just don't know their full story.
So instead of looking at others, we want you to focus on your own journey and your own learning. Your progress is personal. Celebrate your own small victories. Remember how far you've come since you started. Can you understand more now? Can you say more words? That's what truly matters.
It's about your personal growth, not being better than someone else. When you catch yourself comparing, gently bring your mind back to your own goals and your own methods. Your energy is precious. Use it to learn and grow, not to get stuck in the comparison trap. Because when you stop comparing, you free up so much mental space and time to actually improve your English.
You know how sometimes we naturally do what we're good at because it feels easier?
Oh, definitely. It's comfortable, isn't it? We like staying in our comfort zone. But that brings us to our next big idea about learning faster.
The next point is, target your weak spots. Focus on what you lack. It's like finding the areas in your English where you're not as strong and giving them extra attention.
This is really important. Many learners might feel very comfortable with certain English skills like reading or listening, but they might struggle with others, like speaking or writing. And sometimes we just keep doing what we're good at because it feels successful.
Right, so let's say you are great at reading in English. You can read books, articles, news, and you understand almost everything. That's fantastic. But maybe you find yourself really bad at speaking out loud or having conversations with others.
What happens then is you might keep reading and reading because it feels good and easy. But you're not actually improving the part of your English that you want to use more. You're speaking.
Exactly. So instead of just sticking with reading, even though you're good at it, the smart thing to do is to shift your focus to speaking practice, even if it feels difficult at first.
It's like finding a small hole in a bucket. If you keep pouring water into the bucket, it will just come out the hole. You need to fix the hole first. So if speaking is your hole, you need to work on that.
That way, you won't waste time practicing something you've already mastered. You'll be directly working on the skill that needs the most improvement. And that means you will improve faster overall.
Yes, it might feel a bit uncomfortable at first. You might struggle while you're trying to improve where you lack. But that struggle is actually a sign that you're learning and growing.
Don't be afraid of that feeling. Just focus on that weak area and keep going until you feel you've made good progress. Maybe dedicate 80% of your English time to that weakness for a while.
Once you feel more confident in that area, then you can move on to something else you might lack, or balance your skills again. This targeted approach is a key reason why some people seem to leap forward. They're fixing their holes and becoming strong in all areas of English.
So, take a moment to think. What part of your English feels the most difficult right now? That's your next target.
All right, let's talk now about a tip that makes you learn faster. This one is all about getting your English out into the world, not just keeping it in your head. It's called the use it or lose it rule. What we mean by this is that simply knowing English words or grammar rules isn't enough. You need to actively use it to make it truly yours.
That's so true. I've met learners who know so many vocabulary words, but they struggle to put them into a sentence when they need to speak.
And that's because language isn't just information, it's a skill, like riding a bike or playing an instrument. You learn by doing. People who learn English faster understand this. They're constantly looking for ways to use English in their daily lives.
So they're not just studying it in a book, they're bringing it to life.
They look for opportunities to speak and listen purposefully. This doesn't mean they're having perfect conversations all the time. It can be very simple.
Can you give us some examples of how they might do this?
Of course. It could be something as simple as repeating phrases from our podcast out loud after us, or trying to describe their day out loud in English to themselves while they're walking or doing chores. They might talk to their pet in English or narrate their actions in English.
So, it's about finding any chance to actually produce the language, even if there's no one else around.
Yes. And when it comes to listening, they're not just letting English be background noise. They're trying to actively understand what they hear. They might pause a show to look up a word or try to guess the meaning from the context.
And here's where those faster learners really shine. They keep using it, even if they failed at the beginning. They know they won't be perfect right away, and that's okay.
Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall down many, many times. But they don't stop trying because they failed. They keep pushing themselves to use their legs, and eventually, they learn to walk and run.
It's the same with English. You might try to say something and it comes out wrong, or you might not understand everything you hear. But those who learn faster don't let those small failures stop them. They see it as a chance to try again, to learn from it.
They make English an active part of their life, not just a subject they study. They make it something they do, not just something they know. And that constant, active practice is what truly builds fluency and speed.
So challenge yourself today. How can you use English even for just a few minutes? Don't just know it, use it.
This brings us to our next point, which is related to what we just talked about. Mistakes. That's right. Your mistakes are your best teachers.
Oh, mistakes. No one likes making them, especially when you're trying to speak a new language. It can feel a bit embarrassing.
It really can, but here's the thing. People who learn English faster have a very different view of mistakes. They embrace imperfection.
So, instead of being scared of making mistakes, we should actually welcome them, because they really help with learning.
Right. Many learners feel like they need to be perfect before they even try to speak or use English. They wait until they know every grammar rule or every single word. But this thinking actually slows them down a lot.
Because if you wait to be perfect, you might never start using the language.
That's it. People who learn faster understand that making mistakes is a completely normal and very important part of the learning process. They know that you will make hundreds of mistakes, especially when you're starting and when you're pushing yourself to try new things.
So they don't see a mistake as a failure. They embrace those mistakes and treat them as if they are their teachers. Think of it this way. When you make a mistake, it's like a little bell ringing telling you, hey, there's something here you can learn, which is a really positive way to look at it.
So here's what you do next time you notice a mistake. First, noticing the mistake is already a great start and a huge improvement. Many beginners don't even realize they've made a mistake. When you start to hear yourself say something wrong, or realize you used the wrong word, that's your brain getting smarter and more aware. Then, instead of feeling bad, You can use that moment to improve and fix one thing at a time. Maybe you said he go instead of he goes. Great! Now you've noticed it. Next time you try to remember he goes. You don't need to fix everything at once. Just pick one thing, work on it, and then move to the next.
Just gently correct yourself, rather than getting angry at yourself. The faster learners keep using English, even if it's imperfect. They know that every time they try, even if they stumble, they are getting closer to their goal. They're collecting these lessons from their mistakes, and that's how they get better and faster.
So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Go out there, use your English, and let those mistakes teach you. Okay, the next tip is really super important for staying motivated on your English journey. Because sometimes I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to learn really, really fast. You need to be patient and persistent, not fast.
You've hit the nail on the head, Emily. Patience and persistence. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Who said you need to learn English super fast in the first place?
Right. English learning was never about speed and who learns faster. It's not a race where the first person to finish wins some prize. The idea that you must learn English quickly can actually be very damaging. It can make you feel disappointed if you don't see huge progress every single day. And that disappointment can lead to giving up.
But here's the secret of those who seem to learn faster. They understand that language learning takes time. They are patient and persistent. They know that improvement happens step by step, not in one giant leap.
Think about growing a plant. You don't see it growing taller every second, do you? But if you give it water and sunlight consistently, day after day, week after week, eventually it grows into a big, strong plant.
Your English is the same. You need to keep giving it consistent water and sunlight, your daily practice, your listening, your speaking. And then, slowly, you will start noticing big improvements.
You might not see a huge change from one day to the next, or even 1 week to the next. But if you look back at where you were a month ago, or 6 months ago, you'll probably be amazed at how far you've come.
Because if you just focus on how fast you think you should be learning, or how long it might take you to become fluent, you can get stuck in that thinking. You'll worry, you'll doubt yourself, and you'll put too much pressure on the process.
And that worry actually stops you from enjoying the learning and from making progress. Those who learn faster understand that persistence is the real magic. They don't give up when it gets tough. They keep showing up even on days when they don't feel like it.
They know that every little bit of effort, day after day, adds up to huge progress over time. So, give yourself permission to learn at your own pace. Be patient with yourself, and most importantly, be persistent.
Just keep going one day at a time and the improvements will come. We promise. Let's move to our next tip. Make it fun. Learning should be a joy, not a chore. If you're constantly stressing, pressuring yourself, comparing yourself to others, and just feeling overwhelmed, English learning quickly becomes a heavy burden. And that's exactly what you don't want.
When learning feels like a chore, your brain doesn't want to do it. It starts to resist. And that's why many people give up.
Exactly. But people who learn faster often figure out how to make English enjoyable. They find ways to integrate English into things they already love to do. When you make it fun, it doesn't feel like study, it feels like a hobby.
So, instead of thinking, I have to study English, you start thinking, I get to enjoy English.
Let's think of some fun ways you can do this. Do you love watching movies or TV shows? Try watching them in English with English subtitles, or even without, if you feel ready.
If you're interested in cooking, find English cooking shows or recipes online. If you love video games, try playing them in English. If you're into fashion, find English fashion bloggers or magazines.
The key is to connect English to your passions. When you're genuinely interested in the topic, your brain is more open and you absorb the language more naturally without even realizing it. It doesn't feel like work.
And another way to make it fun is by using the reward yourself method.
Oh, I love this method. It's so simple but very effective. For example, if you complete 30 minutes of English practice, you can reward yourself with something you enjoy.
Yeah, maybe it's a small snack you love, or 15 minutes to watch your favorite non-English show, or playing your favorite game. The reward doesn't have to be big or expensive. It just needs to be something that makes you happy and encourages you to do the English activity again.
So stop thinking of English as this big, scary mountain you have to climb quickly. Start thinking of it as a playground where you can explore, play, and discover new things. When learning is joyful, you'll naturally spend more time with it, and that's how you'll improve faster.
Make a list of your favorite hobbies, and then think about how you can do those hobbies in English. You might be surprised how much fun you'll have.
All right, Liam. We've talked about so many important things today, from finding your why to making learning fun. But for our final point, we have a really unique idea that can truly help you learn faster.
Oh, I'm curious, Emily. What's this last secret?
It's simple, but many people don't think of it. Connect and learn. In other words, ask those faster learners directly.
Like, actually talk to them?
Exactly. You know how sometimes you look at someone and think, wow, they're learning English so much faster than me. Instead of just wondering or comparing, our advice is, communicate with those people you think are learning faster than you and ask them directly.
That's a bold idea. Some people might feel a bit shy to do that.
It's true, but it's completely okay to be curious. Think about it. Most people love to share their experiences and help others. If you see someone who is making great progress, chances are they've found some strategies or resources that work well for them.
So, instead of just feeling a bit envious, you can turn that into a learning opportunity.
Precisely. It's a great way to look for different insights from different people. Everyone's journey is unique, and someone else might have found a fantastic app, a useful method, or a specific type of practice that you haven't thought of yet.
And it doesn't have to be a one-way street, right?
Not at all. This can become a wonderful exchange. You could be sharing your tips that have worked for you, and they can share theirs. Maybe your ideas will help them, and their ideas will help you. It's a win-win situation.
It's a way to build a little community around learning English.
You can learn so much from them. Maybe they'll tell you about a new podcast they love, or how they practice speaking every day, or a website that has helped them with grammar. Their experiences can open up new doors for your own learning.
So, if you know someone, maybe a classmate, a colleague, or even someone in an online learning group who seems to be making quick progress, don't be afraid to send a friendly message or ask them directly. Hey, I really admire your English progress. Do you have any tips or methods that have helped you a lot?
Most people will be happy to share, and you never know that one conversation could give you the exact push or the missing piece you need for your own English journey. It's a proactive way to learn and grow, turning curiosity into valuable action.
So, reach out and connect. You might just find your next great English learning tip.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of English in Comfort. We really hope that today's conversation gave you some fresh ideas about why some people seem to learn English faster, and more importantly, how you can speed up your own progress.
Remember, it's not about being the fastest, but about finding what works for you and enjoying the journey. We talked about finding your why, staying consistent, discovering your learning method, avoiding comparison, targeting your weak spots, and actively using English through listening and speaking practice.
We also covered the power of embracing mistakes, having patience and persistence, and most importantly, making your English learning fun. And don't forget our unique tip, connecting with other learners and asking them directly for their best tips for learning English.
We truly hope these insights help you on your path to better English communication skills. This is a great way to improve your English listening and speaking in a relaxed way.
We'd love to hear what you thought of this episode. Did any of these points particularly resonate with you? Let us know.
And if you found this episode helpful for your English fluency and speaking practice, please remember to subscribe to English in Comfort wherever you listen to podcasts. That way, you won't miss any episodes designed to help you with real English conversation and vocabulary building.
Thank you so much for joining us and letting us be a part of your English learning journey. Keep practicing, keep listening, and take care, everyone.